Good afternoon. I'm Tina Tasaka from Cannabis X America, and we are here at the Ultimate Women's Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, downtown at the Convention Center. And it is buzzing. I mean, I got to say, there's quite a few people milling around here. A lot of great products, a lot of good smelling perfume, but I think we're at the ultimate booth.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
And I got to tell you, I am sitting here with Miss Taryn, and it's always 420 in Arizona is her company.
Yes.
And in the brief moment that I met her, she has a doozy of a story, and we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But Miss Taryn is partnered with WeedWorks, and we are partnered with them here today. WeedWorks, as you know, they provide education across all of Arizona, and they're going to be expanding greatly. And they give education about the cannabis industry, anywhere from how to properly ingest cannabis, and they give education to seniors. But with Miss Taryn here, Miss Taryn, what do you do?
So we also assist WeedWorks. We certify patients all over the state of Arizona. We can do virtual as well as in person. We do the lowest price in Arizona. We try to make it easy for people to access their medication, as well as get assistance from WeedWorks in order to get consulting so they get the right cannabis to help with their medical conditions.
That is so excellent. And I understand, I mean, you've got a lot of services here. So you do the medical marijuana card as well as an FA card. You have kind of a plethora of services here.
We do, yes. So we do the medical marijuana certifications. We do FA application processing. We offer weight loss injections, semi-glutide weight loss injections. And it's the only place in the state. I built it within my tattoo shop. So we have it all located in one area. So it's a pretty unique thing, and it's awesome. We try to touch every part of the community within our company.
That is so fantastic. You know, I think for the viewers, I think what would be real helpful, just kind of on a real high level, from initial contact to you, if someone just calls in, hi, I am seeking to get my medical marijuana card, kind of at a high level, what does that process look like? And what is the time frame that it takes from initial call to getting that card finally, either emailed to them, a digital copy, or is it a hard copy still?
Okay, so what happens when someone calls is we can take them in right then and there. We can take them in the same day or the next day. We schedule their appointment, whether virtual or in person. We ask them what their medical condition is just to make sure it's qualifying. Most common is severe and chronic pain. Our doctor can do an evaluation for that. We send them their paperwork. They fill out their paperwork. They see our doctor. We process the application. We take care of everything. There's no additional fee for that. The card is normally approved within the same day or next day. We do at my company offer physical cards, so we can send them in the mail, or they're available for pickup. So they have physical and digital.
Fantastic.
And then it's good for 2 years.
Oh, that is fantastic. Okay, and just to verify this, the Arizona medical card, there's no reciprocity with any other state.
You can call other states and see. A lot of times there are reciprocity in the sense of they'll give a medical patient discount, but it's not the same rules. So it's they recognize it. So I guess not reciprocity, but they recognize it for a discount.
Oh, okay. So they're kind of like, okay, hey,
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So this might be a personal question, but are you a medical patient yourself?
I am.
Okay.
Yes. It took me a little bit to get here, which was my adventure getting into the cannabis program, but I am a medical patient.
Okay. How long have you been in the cannabis industry?
I've been in the cannabis industry since 2017.
Okay, so you beat me by 1 year.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going on 9 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What brought you into the cannabis industry?
So I was actually in law enforcement. I was an officer out at the Florence prison. I did death row as well as security threat groups.
Where's that prison located?
Florence. It's Iman.
Oh, Florence,
facility.
Florence,
Yep.
Arizona.
Yes. And I was an officer. I was extremely biased of cannabis. I had family members that were involved in the industry, and I was like everyone else and followed suit with the stereotype and the belief. I jumped into this career given the opportunity to be back in Tucson more often with my children. I wasn't a believer when I first started. And then I educated myself a lot. I had some diagnosis of skin cancer, and I actually had it on my face and my chest, and they wanted to do major surgeries on my face, and I was desperate. So I studied RSO down to a science, and I switched over. Within 30 days, 93% was gone. Within 45 days, the skin cancer was gone off of my lip. And so at that point,
You were applying it topically, or you were taking it
Topically.
sublingually. It's always a hard word to say.
yes,
You were
I was
applying
using
it.
topical. Yep. And then at that point, I knew I had to shift, and I believed, and I've been on a mission ever since. I used to bring it out to Illinois, to my grandparents. They were very biased too, and I was able to teach them. And they were using topicals and gummies and vapes. And since then, life changed for me, and I want to help as many people as I possibly can.
These are the stories that, I have to take a deep breath because, I talk to people all the time and I hear these stories and I'm just so stunned sometimes. I mean, I've heard anywhere from a young lady a month ago, she had a feeding tube in her body. They told her they were never going to remove her feeding tube. She was going to have to live with it for the rest of her life. And she's a medical patient. She had it, and they also told her she was never going to have a child. She has a 2-year-old now.
Exactly.
And Brittany Kiefer, I'm going to call her name out, Brittany Kiefer, and she wrote a book, and it's hard for me not to get a little teary-eyed, but
And that's what it is.
it's just so amazing, these stories. And the thing is that we have to keep talking about them and we have to keep sharing. And I say that, if only 8 people see us today, or 80 people see us, or 800 people see us, and then we share it and we like it and we just keep going. But this is what, we're trying to share with the public, is that, there's not scientists that are proclaiming that cannabis cures cancer, but there are elements, and there are elements stating that it has shrunk tumors, and there are evidence of things happening in laboratories, and there are people sharing it across the globe.
That's what it's about. It's talking about it. It's getting it out there. I lost my dermatologist because of it. My dermatologist said, if you go the cannabis route, you will no longer be my patient. And I told her, then it looks like I'm not going to be your patient.
Find another doctor.
Yeah,
Find another doctor.
And I have a doctor that is supportive. But like you said, there's not enough. We have to talk about it. We have to get out there. We have to get it shared so people have access to it, because they don't want us to have access to it, because it would save lives and it would change the dynamic of, the pharmaceutical company, and it's not what they're wanting. And so I'm on a huge mission with it.
There's also evidence of it in Chinese medicine from thousands and thousands of years ago, and evidence of it using hemp medicine, from hundreds of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of evidence of it. And, it's a matter of us bringing forth those artifacts again. But it's the stigma. It's the stigma. And it goes back to education and what Randy and I were just talking about in the interview that we just had together. And we have to just continue to pound on the education and pound on the stigma, that
the louder we get and the more experience we have, and the more people that we can, tell our stories to where they have a chance. That's the biggest fear, is I don't want people to wait till it's too late. I want them to have an option in the beginning when they get diagnosed with something, to try to, quality of life is important to me. And, I want to give people the best quality of life that they can have through what I know.
That's absolutely right. I think that no one wants to see another person suffer, particularly you don't want to see a human suffer, and we don't want to see an animal suffer. I mean, you don't, if those two items right there, if you're checking those two boxes right there, then you're believing in, human kindness, and that you want to look to all our alternatives that are going to help people.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know this either. They will administer THC in the hospital, but their only stipulation is if you've ever tried it. It's Meridol. So a lot of people don't know that. They're afraid to try it. They're afraid to take that step. But in situations where they want to take life-saving measures with cancer, they will administer it. But the stipulation is that you've had to have used cannabis at a certain time. So I really support people at least even trying it, because God forbid something were to happen someday, and that's an option in the hospital too. They would be able to use that treatment then too.
I didn't know that. What state is that in?
That's it. It's in the state of Arizona.
That's fascinating. I'm certainly going to look up that information. That is fascinating to know, and that is really a good nugget to share with everybody. So I am curious on one thing. How is, coming out of law enforcement? That must have been a big one for you when you left law enforcement, and just the overall, your friends and family. I mean, what did they think? It was
it was a unique situation. It was a change, and a big change was, as I was seeing a lot of inmates that were getting out on parole that needed to have their medical marijuana card. And so for them to also see me in that environment versus being the officer that, kept things in line, was a very big culture shock, I would say.
Did you ever get it's you again?
Yeah, it was
like, oh no.
It was, Remy? And normally, I go by my last name, but a lot of things just say my first name. And I was like, oh, okay, you came from the prison. It's good to see you. But they're like, what are the odds? Because I was so, very just, militant, and I'm so glad I was able to change.
That must have been such a weird thing.
It was
like a movie. Like, oh no, why am I seeing you again?
I know, it was like deja vu, but in a completely different setting. And also, I was like, I told you I'm pretty cool, But it's been great. It's been great, and I'm happy. I support law enforcement. I give discounts for vets and law enforcement, and
Excellent.
Everyone does a good job.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So now tell me, do you have events coming up, like fairs and so forth, whereby you can you meet people and you can escalate and get interest, whereby they
Absolutely.
What's going on with you? What's the next phase after this women's expo?
So we participate in a lot of events. We participate in META. We're actually participating with Weedworks. We're going to be at Cureleaf on Monday at the Glendale location for certifications. Patients will save $35 while we're on site. And then we could also do the split payments. So if they can only pay for their office fee, we collect that. They could pick a date for their state fee. The sooner the better for both, though, because then they'll receive their card. So we'll be in Glendale at Cureleaf on Monday, and then on Wednesday we'll be at the Scottsdale location doing the same deal.
So on your website too, on events, they can find that too.
Absolutely. And our
so the
social media.
website being it's always 420inaz.com. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. That's super. Well, gosh, it is just so fantastic talking to you, and looking forward to seeing you this week too at the event.
Yes.
So folks, if you want to get your medical marijuana card and also FA card, there's discounts if you're a veteran. There's all types of different discounts. You can go out to the website and find out the different layers for families, for veterans. You can get your medical marijuana card, your FA card, your facilities administration card. You can get that as well, and all in one here. So it's really a great service, and partnered with Weedworks, and thanks for coming on the show with us today. This is super great. And we're going to continue here at the Ultimate Women's Expo here in downtown Phoenix. Tina Tasaka with Cannabis X America.